Dear learners, how are you? I think you are well. Today again, I sat down to upload a video for you. Welcome to my online class. This is Mohammad Monir Hossain, your English teacher, Bhasha Shahid Abdul Jabbar Ansar Medium School and College, Shofipur Gazipur. My contact number 01715 and 0186 5016 The presentation is made for class 11 and 12. This is your grammatical item. There is a picture here, the picture of a baby, and there is a sentence here. We like the baby because it is innocent. So, what is it? It is a sentence. It is a large and big sentence. There are two parts of this sentence. One is we like the baby. Another one is but what is this? What is this? So, but what is this and we like it, like the baby, is a part of a sentence, large sentence. So, today our lesson is about the parts of sentence. That means part of sentence is called clause. Learning outcomes. What will we learn after completing clause? At the end of the lesson, we'll be able to identify the clauses, identify the kinds of clauses, identify the structure of clauses, recognize the clauses. Let us see what is clause. The teacher said that education is the backbone of a nation. The teacher said that education is the backbone of a nation. We see the baby who is praying to Allah. So, this is a clause that education is the backbone of a nation, and we see the baby. This is a clause. Who is praying to Allah? This is also a clause. So, what is the definition of that clause is? A clause is a part of sentence. It is formed with a group of words having a subject and a finite verb. It can express a partial or full meaning of the sentence individually, but it never be a sentence. Whatever we have found from this definition, a clause is a part of large sentence where there should have a subject and a finite verb. In a sentence, there are a subject and a verb. In clause also, there must have a subject and a finite verb. But a clause never be a sentence. What is the definition of it? A clause is a part of sentence. It is formed with a group of words having a subject and a finite verb. It can express a partial or full meaning of sentence. It can express the meaning of a sentence, but it is not a sentence. That is the definition of clause. Now, let us discuss on the classification of clause. How many kinds of clauses are there in English grammar? There is an arrow here. That means there are three kinds of clauses here. First of all is principal clause or independent clause. Second one is subordinate clause or dependent clause. Third one is coordinate clause. Follow the following sentence. I love my mother who loves me more than her life. There are two clauses here. I love my mother. It expresses the full meaning of any parts or sentences. Independent clause that expresses full meaning individually. But whenever we think about this part, who loves me more than her life, depends on I love my mother. That means dependent clause that expresses unclear meaning individually. If there is no I love my mother, who loves me more than her life, this part has no meaning. So this part fully depends on I love my mother. So I love my mother is principal clause, and who loves me more than her life is subordinate clause. Why? Because principal clause expresses the full meaning individually, but who loves me more than her life, subordinate clause, depends on I love my mother, that principal clause. Now let us explain principal clause. I love my mother. I love my mother. I subject here. Love is finite verb here. My mother is extension here. So a principal clause is a clause that bears a subject, a finite verb, an extension, and works as a part of bigger sentence. Principal clause is a part of a sentence. There must have a subject, a finite verb, and may have extension, and works as a part of a larger sentence or bigger sentence. Individually, a principal clause and a simple sentence is the same. If you think about the simple sentence, there should have a subject, a verb, an object, or extension. Principal clause is also like that simple sentence. Whenever a principal clause is added with a bigger sentence, is considered as principal clause. Let us explain about subordinate clause. Who loves me more than her life? Who subject here, loves finite verb, me more than her life, extension here. So a subordinate clause is a clause that bears a subject, a finite verb, an extension, but it cannot work without the help of principal clause. Again, whatever I explained previously, that means subordinate clause is a clause where must have a subject and a finite verb, and somehow it has some extension here. So subordinate clause is a clause where a subject and a finite verb and extension must have, but it cannot work individually. It cannot express the full meaning individually without the help of the principal clause. Unless you work hard, you will fail. Unless you work hard, you will fail. You will fail is full meaning here, but unless you work hard depends on you will fail. So unless you work hard cannot express full meaning. It is subordinate clause. So dependent on this principal clause. Let us see, there are some special words by which subordinate clause is formed. These are the special words. Subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunctions are after, before, in order that, since, though, whenever, whether, although, even if, once, so that, unless, where, while, as, even though, provided that, then, until, whereas, why, because, if, rather than, that, when, wherever. There are some relative pronouns by which subordinate clause is formed also. These relative pronouns are that, who, whose, which, whoever, whose, whosever, whichever, whom, whomever. Now let us discuss about coordinate clause. I invited him and he accepted me. In this sentence, there are two clauses. I invited him and he accepted me. I invited him expresses the full meaning of a sentence. He accepted it. It is also express the full meaning. So both this clause, I invited him and he accepted me, are independent clause or principal clause. And these two principal clauses are attached with a conjunction and. He is poor but honest. This but is a conjunction. By this but, the he is poor and he is honest. These two principal clauses are attached or joined. So, when two independent clauses are added with a coordinating conjunction is called a coordinate clause. Again, this is principal clause. He accepted me. This is also principal clause. These two principal clauses are joined, added with a conjunction and. Whenever these two principal clauses are joined with a conjunction is called coordinate clause. This full sentence is coordinate clause. There are some special words by which coordinate clause is formed. Let us see. These coordinate conjunctions are, these are the conjunction. By this conjunction, coordinating conjunction, coordinate clause is formed. These are the conjunctions. And both dot dot and, also to, as well as, no less than, not only but also, now, well, either or, neither nor, otherwise, else, or, but, still, yet, nevertheless, however, while, only, therefore, then, so then. These are the conjunctions by which two principal clauses are joined and they are generally used to form coordinate clause. Now please take your pen and khata. I've given you 5 sentences here. Whatever you have to do, write down these 5 sentences in your khata and find out and write the names of clauses. Find out and write the names of clauses. How you will do it? Think about the first. This is a picture which looks attractive. This is a picture. This is a picture is a clause which looks attractive. That is another clause. This is a picture. It expresses the full meaning. So it is principal clause. And which looks attractive doesn't express the full meaning. It has to depend on this is a picture to express the meaning. So which looks attractive is subordinate clause. Again, this is a picture, this is a clause, principal, which looks attractive, subordinate. Like this, we'll find out the clauses here, we'll find out the clauses here. Think about second one. This is a picture, this is a clause, and it looks attractive. It looks attractive. That is another clause. This is a picture, principal, it looks attractive, principal. These two principal are added with a conjunction and whatever we have found previously. Think about the coordinate clause. This is a coordinate clause. Like that, you'll find out the other 3. Thank you very much for patient hearing. Thank you everybody.